Hello, kindred spirits. This time I want to start talking in more detail about the four soul senses that I have mentioned before. These soul senses are the other half of your physical body. They function the precise opposite of your physical senses. When you want to learn something, when your conscious mind wants to learn something, you focus and concentrate and you go to books or teachers or other people or the internet, the Google, whatever, outside of yourself. You go outside of yourself to get physical information. You look around, you hear things, you see things, you smell things, you touch them. That's outside of you. The soul senses are the non-rational part of your being that brings you information about things that are within, things that you cannot perceive with your material senses. But just because they're not rational doesn't mean they're invalid. They are as equally valid as the rational part of you. This is not an either or. This is all of you, the rational and the non-rational. Each part of you has its strengths and its limitations. And when you act out of all of them together, you are stronger and more complete and more connected and more whole. Think of it this way. Think back to '04. There was a tsunami after an earthquake in Indonesia. And before the big wave hit the beach, human beings watched animals desert the beach and go to higher ground. Well, if the human beings had been smart and paying attention with their intuitive soul senses, they would have followed, but they didn't. So very few animals drowned in that tsunami, and not so with human beings. Why? Because the human beings have been taught to ignore, devalue, and debase their non-physical channels of information, their soul senses. But why would you want to do that when you can live out of all of them, get information from all of them, and be more complete? And yes, even be safer in situations like that. So that's what I mean when I talk about the soul senses. This is the emotional and spiritual connected half of your being. And you want to learn to pay attention to it because it's already functioning. You're just not paying attention. So next time I'll start talking about what it is you want to pay attention to. Until then, vaya con Dios.